What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back, y'all, to the Tuffy Talk, a live show, y'all. We are here rolling once again, and we are sitting here in much better moods today as we are sitting here 4-2, y'all, with a huge win over Marshall, 48-41, and we will be talking all things about that and all things NC State, and we will be answering even some Tuffy mailbag questions as well. So with that being said, you got myself, Layton Smith here with Michael Tracy, Greg Glegg, and Macon, and the rest of the Tuffy Talk team should be joining us here momentarily. So we will go ahead and get rolling here as we already got some chats in the chat box. And so make sure, again, if you haven't already been here with us, then basically it's pretty much as simple as this. Any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns that you have, make sure to put them right in the chat box and we will get to them and discuss them here today on the show. And if you've been with us here before, you know the drill. But I will make it clear that Armstrong is not running the talk tonight because it's behind. Nope. That is not happening. Hunter, what's going on? Appreciate you joining us as always, man. So just kind of heads up here, because we just got done with it, is that for this week's episodes, we're actually doing an episodes with Locked On Wolfpack. Just got done recording that, actually. So that's why I wanted to go and mention it, because that's what's going through my head right now is everything we just discussed. And it's definitely one you will not want to miss out on. So make sure, again, to make sure you do not miss out on that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But Michael, give me your thoughts, man. 48-41. And honestly, it's kind of odd. I'm sitting here saying, I feel a lot better the fact that we actually won 48-41 rather than winning 13-10. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact, just again, it's different. Like, we like, for the longest time, for the last few years, it's been our defense winning games for us. But I mean, I think, do we have so it's nice to finally see the offense like, oh, wait, the offense actually won us this game. Like defense struggled. And I'm not saying the offense was spectacular, but I'm saying it was the offense that had to do enough at the end of the day to get us a win. So, I mean, Michael, agree, disagree? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, good to see us actually be able to score 48 points. Who would have thought that was possible? But it was just kind of how the game went. I mean, there was a lot of back and forth. There's turnovers on both sides. A lot of possessions. So I mean, even I think we had 18 possessions, which that's very high for us. We usually like to keep it around 10 to 12. So more possessions means you're going to score more. Or
not at halftime.
Well, yeah, but
yeah,
the defense, I didn't think the defense played as bad as 41 points would suggest. Right, you had a pick six, and then you had another turnover where you gave the ball to Marshall inside the 30. So they got some points off of that too. So I don't think they played as bad as the 41 points looks. But I mean, it definitely were some concerning moments on defense. But which, I mean, we've seen that throughout the season. They're susceptible to the big plays, especially on play action. Just either over pursuing or not just looking in the backfield and getting beat, which happened again. A couple times versus Marshall's, and credit to Marshall. I mean, they took advantage of that. They saw that was our weakness on our defense and definitely schemed up some plays there.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. I mean, you see the scoreboard, it's 41 points. You take the pick six off. That's, that's 34. And then that late touchdown at the end of the game where the defense is just gassed because they ran 90 plays.
Yeah.
So yes, the score was 41, but it didn't feel like 41. Go ahead.
And when you get that many possessions, like I said, you're going to score more. I mean, I think we scored 48 points on 18 possessions, which is right around 2.5 points per possession. And against UConn, we scored 24 points on eight possessions. So it almost comes out to the same.
Pretty equal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess Michael, since we haven't really talked, but what are your first thoughts on the MJ Morris era? Obviously it got started to a little bit of a rocky start. And settled in after the first couple of possessions, and he found a groove thanks to some dare I say tight end play.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Trent Pennock.
Yeah.
We had a nice Trent Pennock sighting over the weekend, but just kind of give me your thoughts on the MJ Morris era starting.
Yeah, no, that like you said, it was it was a rough start. I was like, oh no, is this gonna backfire on us real quick? But
are the fans gonna turn? That's what I was waiting for.
the start in the Brennan Armstrong chant,
Yeah,
or the Lex Thomas chant.
Oh,
but no, no, like credit to him though. He responded well. That went right down the field and threw a nice touchdown pass to KC, which man, we'll be seeing a lot more of those in the future.
Yeah,
amen.
Let's go find that NIL money.
Yeah, and like you said, they got Pennock involved. I think Anai really helped out MJ a lot in this game. He gave him some easy reads. Even the whatever you want to call them, push passes, little toss, jet sweeps to KC. Those counted as passes, but it's really a running play. But still, that got the offense going.
Yeah, and that was interesting that you brought it up because Coach Doran talked about that, and I get the thought process. Well, there's MJ hadn't taken a lot of live snaps, so instead of handing it off and potentially that being a fumble, we saw it where it looked like a fumble only to be called an incomplete pass, and that play happened. I think was it the Louisville game we had that similar thing on the other side where we thought we had a fumble, but
yeah.
Macon, welcome aboard, sir. How are you doing?
What's up, guys? I'm doing well. You guys doing all right?
Good. We were just talking about the MJ Morris era beginning, and kind of want to get your thoughts. Were you there Saturday?
I was.
Okay, so you saw it in person. You could hear the MJ Morris chant starting before the game, before they even ran out of the tunnel. So the crowd was definitely in a frenzy for MJ. So give me your thoughts on how he showed out. I'll get that out.
So for him, I think there was. I don't think it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I think he did score 4 touchdowns. So that's really good. I remember asking, I don't know if I mentioned this last show, but I mentioned it, how I was talking to my dad, what do you want to see?
We did talk about that.
Yeah. What do you want to see from him? And I said, I want to see 3 touchdowns, 300 all-purpose yards.
You got close to it.
Got close.
I told you don't count on the running part, though. I told you that. I said,
right, he was like 6 for -2.
Yeah.
I think it's something like that.
He's just not a runner.
His first play. So I didn't. There's some plays I felt like I had some critical plays I missed right at the beginning of each half. So I missed the first play, tip pass.
Yeah, through Concepcion. You talking about the interception?
Yeah, but it wasn't the Conception play where he hits it in 2 hands. It was something else. Was it? What was the very first play?
You're talking about. Wait, you're talking about the second interception he threw?
No, you talking about the first play, like one of the first plays of the game.
First play of the game.
Oh,
was that interception?
A run? I thought it was a run play.
No, I thought it was a run.
It was a run.
I thought it was a run play.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that. So maybe I'm wrong then. I thought so. I know he had 3 interceptions. He had the pick 6. He had the one where hit KC off the hands. What was the other one? I'm forgetting one.
Yeah. So the first possession went to Marshall. And then we had our possession, which was the interception, which was 2 plays, and that was through KC's hands. And then they got the touchdown. And then
that messed it up then. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure which play you're referring to.
The intercept, it was, I think, maybe the third interception.
Yeah, I don't know.
Half,
yeah,
he hit the lineman. He hit the lineman, and the ball kind of sailed.
That's what I'm thinking of. So there's things that I thought could be better. I think the pick 6 one was the worst of the bunch because he just threw it right to the DB.
Yeah.
But I can't give him I can't say he did poorly on the other 2. I don't know how you can kind of give him a demerit for that. To me, it's like, okay, he had 1 bad play, but a clearly bad play, and someone pointed out it's like it's more like the defense gave up 34 points rather than 41 because that 1 touchdown was on MJ. Right. But I thought he kind of gave the defense a little bit of a spark. I don't know if that was a different play design, whether they were calling. They gave Conception had 14 targets this game, right? So,
well. And let me go ahead, Macon, and jump in, May. And the only reason why I want to jump in is because we actually just talked about this with Ken Gibbs from Locked On Wolfpack. So the so the pick six really at the end of the day was actually not his fault. It was actually, I mean, just calling it straight. It was Porter Rooks just blew the block. The guy went right by him, and I mean, the guy was there to get it. So I mean, then only thing which you can really say, which I kind of mentioned this to Ken, is that when MJ got the ball snapped to him, he took a half a second to kind of turn the ball to where he wanted it and then threw it. So only thing which could kind of go through my head is, and this kind of very senior thing and something which I don't even know necessarily if this is the right thing, but maybe is that now that we've added an extra half a second, instead of catching and throwing, now we're catching, rolling, and then throwing. You're saying, well, now there's extra half a second here, so maybe should I just tuck the ball and just run and try and get back at least the line of scrimmage, maybe gain a yard or two. But at the end of the day, it was, if Porter Rooks had gotten that block, then we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah,
so,
I'm literally just watching the replay on it because I totally missed that the first time. He literally whiffs on that block.
Yeah, snaps high too, so that throws off the timing of the play too. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Rooks missing the block was definitely the key thing.
That's really what caused it.
Yeah, I think MJ still I think he's still got to hold that and
that's tough.
That's a timing play, though. I mean, that's a timing play. Yeah. So you're expecting your player to get the block, and I mean, it's a bang bang type play. And I think everyone's got a point there where the snap's off. He's got to adjust the ball. I mean, that fraction works. Rooks doesn't. If everything works, and even Rooks screwing up, I still think it's a completion, but probably for negative yards and not a pick six.
Right.
Exactly. That's a good point.
I appreciate the clarification then, because I thought overall it was a good first game for him. I mean, like he had 4 touchdowns. In my opinion, it was really like 3 true passing touchdowns, right? He had 2 to Pennock and the 1 to Conception. The other one was more like the little shuffle pass, jet sweep, right? Yeah. So, but I thought he made good plays. I don't know. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was a positive outing from what I was looking for to make me feel comfortable about it. Like going into the next game, I thought, I know Duke is like a negative -2, -3 right now favorite. And if it's me, actually betting on State right now because I don't know if Riley Leonard's playing, and
50-50 from what I'm hearing.
Kind of get a little bit of wild card. So I like what I saw from MJ.
The one thing I'll say is this was a more vertical offense, right? It wasn't
much more vertical.
It wasn't a 5-yard hitch or slant and a ton of yards after the catch. I mean, we were literally going deep. We took shots, and I think some of that too is having the offensive line back. You got Dylan McMahon back, so you had a little bit more time. You could let plays develop. I thought we ran the ball a lot better, and we haven't talked about, like, this was a fringe top 25 defense that we played, so it wasn't. I say fringe. I mean,
I know.
You have to look at their opponents, right? I mean,
right. It's a good defense. Let's put either way. It's a good defense. Yeah, like I think it's not a bad defense. It's a good defense.
I think SP Plus had them top 25, which adjusts for the opponent. So
exactly.
So keep all that in mind. I thought they kept the playbook simple for MJ. I don't think he had all of his reads and everything. I think they definitely simplified the game, but Dilbert Mims with a big run, 17 yards, like that's a play that you're not expecting. From him.
I can feel Leighton wanting to go to the next subject, but I will say, to kind of summarize what you're saying, Greg, a lot of explosive plays. I know Doran's described it as a 20+ yard play. I feel like we had 6 or 7 of those, whether it's passing or rushing. Delbert, Michael Allen, Terrell Timmons, Pennock, Conception.
Pennock again.
Felt like, it felt like it was like, man, this is pretty nice. It was encouraging to see and like exciting to see, because you're like, this is the kind of direction we need to be going, and we should be going. So,
amen. But then I'm gonna go full state and go, it was against Marshall at home. Let's go see what he does on the road against an ACC better opponent, right?
Sure.
Duke's got it's a good stair step, right? Because you have Marshall, you have Duke, and then you have Clemson, right? So
Yep, time to push up. So yeah. So I want to go and get some comments here. So Tyler coming in saying, please trust me, Peyton Wilson at tight end. I promise you will not regret it. I love it. And I have no doubt Peyton Wilson
He might get the
in
Mackey Award if he comes in halfway and gets a couple of touchdowns. So
yes, no, 100%. Yeah, Michelle, appreciate you tuning in. Hunter saying, I was so proud of Penix. MJ was awesome. And yeah, no, I mean, I couldn't be more thrilled and more happy with Penix, to finally get involved and look what he did, man. 2 touchdowns. So excited for him.
that speed, man. Like
that speed. I know. And again, this isn't from like a 165-pound dude. Like this is from a thick dude, man. And he ran
230.
Yeah, 230. I mean, he ran fast. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. You got to continue to get that guy more involved. 100%.
Yeah,
but he's got to stay healthy. He's got to stay healthy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which so far, knock on wood, hasn't been a problem.
Underestimate how fast he is. Just
he's
because
a
he is so
nightmare.
big.
Yeah, he's a matchup nightmare. Yeah, because you
100%.
figure he's going to get probably a linebacker on him, and he's got to blow a linebacker up every time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You just got to get creative, man. I thought we were more creative offensively. I thought we did a few things that we hadn't done this year.
Yeah.
We did for lack of a better word, those jet sweep.
I know. I love bringing them
passes.
More. Yep.
It's but again, I think there were safe play calls to get MJ in a rhythm. I think that was the whole thing, right? You wanted to get MJ in a rhythm.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a way to manufacture touches.
Yeah.
For Casey. Go ahead.
Correct,
Michael.
And now you got to build off those, right? Because now that's on tape. You can't just run those same plays again because they're going to see them. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that.
Yep, some Matt Canada stuff, some fake jet sweeps, right? So
don't say that word.
I don't know about Matt Canada right now. Don't say that. He ain't looking too good right now.
No.
Yeah, they keep winning.
I don't think he looked too good in state either, but it's a different story.
Yeah,
he's the only guy that fails up.
Ooh,
actually, kind of hit.
Yeah. Fails up. I love that.
Yeah,
I like it. So Rusty, you're bringing up the point. Please discuss these pooch kickoffs, 2 of them.
So Doran talked about it.
Go ahead.
All you can really say is what Doran said about it. I mean,
yeah. So they had saw that on tape the way Marshall lined up, and they practiced it all week in practice, and it worked. Shocking, but they called the first one and it didn't work, and they thought, well, maybe that was just
because why
the kick, right?
The kicker just did a bad job.
Yeah, the kicker was garbage. Again, coaches call plays, players have to execute, right? And so if you're not executing, maybe you execute the player.
So
well, that was an old.
Sure, it was Greg.
He was the old Bucks coach back in the day, John McKay, and he was the quote was, "What was your opinion on the execution of your offense?" He goes, "I'm all for it." That was the quote. that was a very bad Bucks team that went
that's funny,
winless. So. Anyway, so the first one didn't work, and they thought, well, maybe that's just an anomaly. So they saw it again, and they did it again, and it got the same result. So that was the whole play.
The look was that
you were kicking between the two.
Right, areas. All of Marshall's front line was like right up at the 50, and the returners were back on the 5, so there was like 45 yards in between. So
they basically wanted a rugby scramble.
Yeah,
but that's a good point. Yeah, no, 100%. I like it. Yeah, fair enough.
They put the trust in their players, and they just didn't execute the play.
If you go 4 on 4th and 1, you don't get it, you're an idiot. But if you do get it, you're a genius.
You look like a genius, right? So that was the whole reason. And then part of it too was you did have that one nice return by Marshall, and so they were trying to, figure something out. And then finally at the end of the game, they just kicked it to the end zone, and by gosh, that worked.
I know, right? It worked beautifully. So in speaking of special teams, though, Hunter is coming here saying worst special teams we've had in a decade. I still love the unit though.
Yeah, you had the shank too, the shank punt.
Yeah, Kester shanked one.
Yeah, but then he made up for it at the end.
I don't know. I can't. Is it the worst? I don't know if it's the worst because
probably not the worst. But
it's not even bad. It's not bad.
What I'm getting at is if we're talking about special teams, I imagine he's just picking on the kicking.
Yeah,
the kicking.
Yeah, it was just
because the returns are pretty good. So they were respectable. So I'm just kind of like, I get where he's coming from, but
yeah. No, you had a couple
not the best day.
Yeah, not the best day. Well, field goal kicking was solid. I think what did he go 1 for 1?
Yeah, made everything.
Yeah,
made all the extra points.
Yep. So it was just the kickoff coverage team, and then the one punt. It happens. But at the end of the day, you still got to win, right? So it's better to talk about these things after win and that they didn't bite you in a loss. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Rusty asking, Macon is a stats guy. I'd like to know what the stats say about who is the best defensive team at this time in the league. I'm assuming ACC.
At this time, I can tell you real quick.
I would assume it's got to be
well,
Clemson.
Give me
I
a
think
second.
Clemson's like
We're
7.
gonna go PFF grade. So
Duke's probably up there. They're
Duke's
probably,
good.
I'm gonna give you a second. Defense overall, it's Clemson.
Yeah.
Clemson,
Makes
according to PFF, is ranked 5th in the country at a 92.5 grade, which is really good. The highest for reference is Alabama at 93.9.
So not far off.
Similar teams would be UCLA, Iowa, and Michigan, and Ohio State. Now, Marshall, we just talked about them, is ranked 9th on that same scale. They are a 91.5 grade as a defense overall. So State was able to put up 48 points against that type of defense. Pretty good.
Now, keep in mind, of course, that again, I mean, the PFF doesn't take into account who you're playing against. So yes, Marshall hasn't played against the caliber. Definitely, Alabama and those guys have played against. But still, at the end of the day, it goes to the point. It was no shocker. Like, I mean, it was no fluke. I mean, we put up a good performance against a good defense.
I would just say NC State is ranked 53rd nationally on that same scale at 81.9 for defense overall. So highest being 93.9 Alabama. Highest in the ACC is Clemson. Notre Dame, who we played, is 12th, and Wake Forest and Syracuse are the next two in the ACC. Wake Forest is 17th, and Syracuse is 20th.
Yeah, no one's really been talking about Wake. They're just
who really pushed Clemson to the end right there, right?
Yep, I was getting ready to say that. So, now we take our talents to Durham and see, what happens. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think we were all that way last week. We were excited for the change. We saw what we got. I think this. Let's see. They always talk about the jump from week 1 to week 2 as a team. Let's see what the jump is for a quarterback from week 1 to week 2, right? And I think this will be MJ's week 2. Do they open things up more? Just early weather. There's calling for rain Saturday night, so that could play.
They are. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So,
but that goes into another thing, though, saying that if it's wet, are you really going to rush out a Riley Leonard who was just on crutches for an ankle injury 2 weeks ago? Like,
fair point.
Well, I also come back to would you be better in a situation like that?
With BA?
Yes.
Dare I say?
Yeah. Ooh.
But they're not going to do that.
I can see where you were working. Hey, but it is on the road. It is on the road, so you don't get the boo birds. So
I don't know. It's just a thought. Have we talked about the Brennan Armstrong thing yet already?
We will.
Yeah,
okay,
we'll get there.
So, are we going to talk about Duke more at the end, or is it time to talk about Duke right now? What do you want to do, Leighton?
So let's kind of roll it into to this mailbag here, because we got a couple mailbag questions we can kind of roll it into here. But don't worry, y'all. We'll talk more about Armstrong and the boo and all that crap here in a little bit. So anyway, y'all, let's jump on over some Tuffy's mailbag. Here we go. All righty. So our first Tuffy mailbag question, and Greg, I'll let you answer first. What was the best thing you saw from MJ on Saturday? Give me one thing that you were really excited about.
I will say the moxie, the bounce back after the early struggles. He didn't let that get him down, and he just kept persevering and just found a way.
That's a great answer. Yeah. Michael, what you got?
I'd say his decisiveness with the ball. He was pretty confident in his throws, right? He'd drop back and just get it out. I mean, offensive line had a lot to do with that. Gave him a clean pocket for the most part. But I think he only had 2 sacks, and he didn't throw the ball away much.
Yeah, true. Macon, what you got?
I like Greg's comment, but I'll just go with one I said earlier. I just felt like, and it's kind of indirectly a compliment to him, but also to the staff. It was just a different feel, right? You kind of shook the down state you had, mindset of how you had about the offense, and I think it gave the team some freshness that they could go out and play. And and I think also he made good plays. I mean, I don't know if it's every play was the right play, but he made more explosive plays in his first start than we've had the whole season. And Some of that was with the jet sweep, which is more of a play call than it is him doing anything.
Sure,
But it's just him handing the ball off essentially. But I like seeing that. It felt like, man, it felt like a start of a new season, or a fresh start for the season, maybe I should say. And his just presence being there was some excitement around it, and it was good. It's not really anything he did, but just a compliment. I know I like what Greg and Michael said, particularly what Greg said there. So I'll just go with what I said earlier.
I think the other thing, real quick, I think this season had a chance to spiral out of control really quickly, and that he was able to rein that in, right? Before things got out of hand and you've really lost the season.
A loss to Marshall would have been
backbreaking for sure.
It brought a calmness, I think, right? I think that would be another word. Like, he brought a calmness to not only to the team but to the fan base. I think
after the first quarter, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. And for me, like, and it's funny, I'm actually surprised it hasn't get brought up, but honestly, I can't stop thinking about the second Trent Pennock's touchdown where he got popped right underneath the chin.
Yeah.
And still threw that ball, all the way through to get that ball there, and like seeing him like limp off, like even after throwing a touchdown, like I'm sitting there saying, man, like that is something, like even in like, again, like throughout college, NFL, that's one of the biggest things that's talked about is, the willingness to, to take the hit, because you see a lot of quarterbacks try and, roll away from it or like throw off their back foot just to make sure they don't take it. But to know that because like you might say, well, maybe he didn't know it was coming. No, it was coming right at him, and he still threw that ball through. So he knew it was coming. He knew he was going to take it. Yeah. And so the fact that he did take it and still threw that ball where it needed to get that touchdown, huge respect there. And definitely very mature play for a true sophomore quarterback.
Yeah.
So
that was kind of what I was getting to with the moxie, right? Like he stared it down, and like,
I got you.
Yeah. But yours was a much better explanation of it.
Well, I mean, just that one play was just, like, that's just is phenomenal. Like that, like, there's that's not normal for an underclassman quarterback, to have that much, just
he's got a lot of confidence. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
He trusts his ability.
Absolutely.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
And I got to give a shout out here too to John and I talking about the pooch kick, saying as a kicker, if they give it to you, you have to take it. If we get one of the two of them, the fans wouldn't be complaining. Yeah. Exactly, right. Same thing, Well,
especially if you get the first one, right? If you get the first one and the second one doesn't work, it's you don't get the now I see what we were trying to do.
Right. It's like trying to see if Marshall learned from the first time. So yeah. All right, so let's move on. So this might kind of talk about, talking about previewing Duke here a little bit, but what adjustments can be made to help improve pass protection specifically, but general changes overall would you make heading into Duke here this weekend?
It's hard when you score 48.
Well, the first thing which I would say is finally locking down the rotation on the offensive line. I think that's been a huge thing, seeing the rotation of, moving Tim McKay from right tackle to right guard.
Why was that, right? Is because of injuries for the most part, right?
Sure, but I think also too, a lot of it has to do with Peak gives you something with pass protection, and also too, he's that younger talent that you're saying, hey, well, let me go ahead and give him some more touches and see how he does, because Derek Eason, he's been struggling, again, not calling the guy out, but just saying, I'm just calling like it is. He's been struggling this season. So I think that has to do with it too. So I think once you kind of get down to that solid five, and keep them healthy for a little bit and running more effectively together, then that camaraderie will continue to grow. When
you say solid five, are you talking offensive line, or are you talking wide receivers, or both?
Offensive line. Offensive line right now, talking specifically pass protection. So that's my thing. Just
pass protection.
Stop with so much rotation. Unless injuries come. If injuries come, then it is what it is. But just because there's been a lot of rotation that's been non-injury related. So that's my thought.
Yeah, another thing Coach had said was, with Lyndon Cooper having gotten some stuff at center, it's given him a better opportunity to see defensive alignment. And so when he slides back over to, what is it, guard? Is he playing guard?
Yeah.
His more natural position as of right now. You truly get your best five out there, and you get your best opportunity for successful plays.
Absolutely. Yeah. Making Michael any other general improvements, even maybe outside of pass protection heading into Duke?
Just
I think one thing too is I almost wonder. Michael Allen is a good offensive player, but he's not a great blocker. I wonder if just making sure whenever you need those obvious pass blocking things. I mean, you don't want to be predictable in that regard. Like, hey, Michael Allen's on, he's not blocking, whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. It's not the best thing, but just maybe don't have him on. Be honest with you. You know, being smart in what positions you have certain linemen, because like even like you said, Peak, he's not the best run blocker, but he's a good pass blocker. You don't want him to get off the field, but maybe picking the sides you're running to or whatever are better. I don't know, but I think it's really what you said, Leighton.
Yeah, cool. And I mean the other thing for me too, I would say, and and we'll kind of talk a little about this here about the defense side, but on the defense side, the biggest thing, I mean, it's really tough to say too much because only thing I would say is maybe a little bit more consistency from Shaheem Battle specifically. I mean, and again, I'm saying this because listen, I mean, like, I'm not saying, he's done a bad job. Listen, hey, I'm saying he came up with a heck of a play against Marshall in that diving battle to prevent that touchdown. That was a beautiful play.
It was great.
So, but like, for example, like against Louisville, like that touchdown, it's like that ball's in the air, my man. That wide receiver is staring daggers at that football. I need you to turn around and make that play, man. Like, just a little bit more consistency from an experienced, talented guy like Shaheem. But also, it's just tough to say too much because, again, we'll talk a little bit about here today about Raheem Asher again after season, but we're just safeties-wise, we are hurting right now at depth right now, especially since we lost Sean Brown for the first half as well. So
Yeah, and then Robert Kennedy, he's a safety though, right? Or is he a corner?
He's been playing
Robert
nickel.
Kennedy's a nickel. Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant, nickel. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of, go ahead.
Nickel is probably closer to corner than a safety, right?
Yeah. It's an extra cornerback. He had a nice game with a fumble recovery and an interception.
He
Solid
almost
game.
had the touchdown too on that fumble.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, look, Marshall ran a lot of plays. They had a time of possession. They had about 5 more minutes of time of possession, which led to a lot more plays. We talked about how the score, they had 41. That really wasn't all on the offense. You had some short fields with the different plays, but a little more consistency, I think. We're going to have a real test this week, Leonard or no Leonard.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing which I'll add, this is kind of crazy looking at PFF here. Kevin Concepcion against Marshall got 15 targets, and rightfully so. I mean, that guy, again, we'll talk a little bit more about him, but I mean, this guy's been absolutely phenomenal this season. And so good. I mean, like, I think it's a good thing that we are trying to manufacture targets for Kevin Concepcion. But I'm sitting here also saying that I'm also wouldn't be too opposed for getting other wide receivers once again to step up and come through big for us. Again, who? Somebody, man. Like, I mean, like Terrell Timmons. Like, I love Timmons, man. Because there's only really this season been 2 guys, at least in my opinion, that have beaten a wide receiver one-on-one. Because Kevin Concepcion and now Terrell Timmons. Like, watching that, I watched that, and he beat that corner out of his socks and got open. But other than that, we've really had issues beating the defensive backs one-on-one.
I could see Timmons doing that too, but I could even see a guy like Gray being used like that. And I don't really see them using Gray in that way. They're using Gray more in like shallow plays.
Yeah.
And I could see Gray being that kind of guy. I don't know. For me, the guy I want to see us get involved more because he flashed early on, and I haven't seen him lately, is Vereen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Vereen more because he was very effective when they got in the ball. That's the one. If I had to pick one guy I want to be more involved more, it would be Vereen.
Yeah. So in this game, we had 5 different players catch a pass, 4 of them wide receivers, one, the other being the tight end with Trent Pennock. So I think we talked about it last week. You're starting to see that rotation get smaller now. There were plays where Lassane obviously was in there and Collins was in there. They just didn't get any catches. But yeah, I think here's the thing now is now you have to figure out who's gonna be MJ's target, right? Who's gonna be his guy, and that person not named Kevin Concepcion, because we already know that's the guy. So I'm excited to see how that further develops, because I think you're going to see more plays in the passing game for sure.
And can I add another comment here? You want a guy to receiver step up, and
you can't.
I said okay, that's it. Go ahead.
Get out.
No, go ahead.
No, where's Chris Tootle been, man?
Dude.
I
telling you.
don't think that is that a him thing or is that a coaching thing? I don't know because he's been effective the whole last couple of years he's been on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, not a major role, but I mean the notable role. And
He made some big catches for us over the years, for
yeah,
sure.
and he's been nowhere to be found. I mean, and to a lesser extent, I haven't seen the Sebro twins either. Maybe I'm thinking just tight end because I think that's the position that gets forgotten about. But I don't know. I feel like Tootle in particular, I'm surprised. Heck, he made the all hands team for the onside kick, right? So he made that
right.
Yeah,
He did.
But I mean, that's it. That's all I've seen him do really this year.
I mean, so far it seems like they trust Toodle's hands more on the hands team, but not enough to catch football. I guess I don't know, but Greg, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm excited. Again, I keep using the word cautiously optimistic and cautiously excited because we all are State fans. We've all been let down in our lives. There's a reason I have a long gray beard. Before I was a State fan, it was very dark. So
yeah, absolutely. So I want to kind of roll this in here too. So what are the keys for State against Duke? Where is Duke most vulnerable? And
quarterback, if it's not Riley Leonard.
Well, I was going to say that's the big thing is I would be shocked if he plays, which if he doesn't play, then I mean we really don't know anything about his backup. So and I'm assuming that since we don't know anything about him, that means he probably has not got much game time. So I mean if that's the case, then
it looks like Henry Blaine.
Yeah. So I mean so like if he doesn't play, Riley doesn't play, there's your weakness. Go get him.
He is 8 for 8 though. Whatever that means.
8 for 8.
Okay. All right. I like it.
Probably garbage time in some game.
He's a redshirt 6'3", 210 redshirt freshman from New York.
Yeah.
Okay. So
the coach did mention that. Yeah, coach says there's very limited film on him. They'll probably go back to his high school tape. They said and just find out what he does well and what he doesn't do well. I have no idea if he's a pocket passer, if he's a pro guy, dual threat, nothing.
This is listed as number 32 pocket passer by ESPN.
There you go.
Coming out of high school.
All right, so got some arm talent. It sounds
nice
like.
Scrub.
Yeah, I'm looking here. It looks like looking at the PFF grades. Duke's decent grade wise. Their two worst games were Clemson, Notre Dame. Go figure.
Which they were both in. They won the Clemson, obviously, and
they beat Clemson 20-7. They lost Notre Dame last week 21-14. Against Notre Dame, their lowest graded variables were the passing offense in general, which I don't know how much got affected by Riley Leonard. When did he get hurt in that game?
Very last play.
Last play.
Okay, well there you go. So they were not good in the passing offense or pass blocking, and they struggled tackling that game. It looks like they I don't know.
Honestly, if you're looking for a weakness, this is kind of crazy. Just looking at some stats here, their kicker.
Is he? Yeah.
He's 1 of 3 from 20 to 29 yards.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you're just, I don't know.
Which, especially if it's raining, then that's going to be a problem for sure. Yeah.
He is 1 of 1 from 50 and 2 of 3 from 40 to 49 and 1 of 2 from 30 to 39.
That's frustrating.
Yeah. So right.
You can make a 50-yarder, but you can't make everyone from less than 30. Come on.
So he's hit all of his extra points, and he's 5 of 9 from field goal. So I mean, just looking at something raw, that might be an area. Take it for what it's worth. So if it's a close game, maybe.
Yeah.
They run the ball really well.
Yeah, you're gonna have to shut down Waters or Waiters. Jordan.
But the one thing which I would say though is I would assume without looking at stats that Riley Leonard is a lot of the running.
Correct.
Game.
He is. Yeah.
Correct.
So,
but if your guy now, here's the thing: if you're replacing a running mobile quarterback with a non-mobile quarterback, you don't have to necessarily have a spy on the defense watching him, so that frees up maybe a linebacker to do something else. So you can be more effective.
It's also going to be a tough week of preparation though too for the defense because now you have to prepare for a pocket passer as well as a dual threat depending on if Riley plays or not. So it's going to be interesting. But want to bring up Southern's question too. Is it just me, or does it always seem like we get bit by injuries every single year? It's like this guy's hurt, these 3 guys are out, et cetera, et cetera. And I would say, again, it's football, folks. I mean, like we said it. Yeah, I mean, like season predictions at the beginning of the season really don't mean nothing. Like it's like
I mean,
there's so much that's going to change through the season. It's unreal.
I think the big thing for us is at one position, right?
Exactly.
With the safety.
Yeah.
And so, you can lose a guy. Obviously, if he's a stud at one of your positions, you're going to definitely take a hit. But when you've lost, 2 or 3 guys at one position, you're only usually 4 deep anyway. And that fourth guy is usually a true freshman, who's never seen the field.
Exactly.
You got to get more creative. So that's what really hurts.
Yeah, I think we're at the halfway point. 6 games in, we're down 1 starter and 2 backups. So,
and we do have a bye coming after this week,
terrible.
so we can get a little healthier. As
more
much as you
pressure.
can.
So let's ask this question: what happens if you? So what are your expectations for this Duke game then for state? Like, is that an outcome? What do you want to see other than a W?
I mean, I have a feeling it's going to be another one. Like we've talked about this with our defense. You're going to be in most of your games. It's going to be probably a 1-possession game.
Are you?
It's just
I worry about that sometimes because it's 34 points. They gave up 40 something to Notre Dame, better team than Duke.
Yeah, but
it's not played as great. But I get what you're saying. Generally speaking, it's an above average defense.
Yeah, but we also held a high flying Louisville team to 10 points.
Yeah.
So
great
13.
point too.
I'm sorry,
13.
You're right.
13.
Sorry, my apologies.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I don't think it'll end up like some of the games we saw earlier in the season, kind of 24-20, maybe 2017. I think it'll be close, but more low scoring.
Yeah, it's a 3-point. They're only a 3-point favorite, so obviously Vegas thinks it's going to be a 1-score game in some direction. It's just when you have 1-score games, that really means every play does matter, right? You can't have a holding penalty when you're trying to score, and it takes you out of something. You can't have a shank on a punt. You can't have a stupid kickoff. You have to go out and execute all the plays. That's not to knock the last game, but we were fortunate that those things don't bite you. And when you play a little bit better team, that's a team that's in the, I don't know, what is that? The Sun Belt, right? Marshall in the Sun Belt.
They were Sun Belt.
Yeah, because that used to be Conference USA. You can get away with those things against a Sun Belt opponent. I'm not so sure you can get away with those things in an ACC game.
Yeah. No, and again, I think for Duke, first of all, I think Vegas is predicting that Riley doesn't play because if they were predicting Riley was playing, I would assume they'd be more than a 3-point favorite.
I would agree.
Probably at least 7.
So yeah, probably 7. I would say at least, for sure.
Yeah.
And again, y'all, I'm just sitting here saying like, I just don't see them. Unless it's really not that bad, but like let's put it this way: if Riley Leonard plays against us, like that's got to be like some Nick Chubb luck. Because like you watch Nick Chubb play, you're saying, oh, that knee is destroyed. His career is done. But for the fact that he only tore his MCL, it's like, okay, that is some crazy luck. And I saw that Riley Leonard play. He got rolled up. That is a clear high ankle sprain all day long and twice on Tuesday. So if he comes back within 2 weeks, man, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And again, hey, listen, I look at it both ways. If he plays, cool. I don't want guys to be injured, but I'm also here saying, hey, listen, I also want to win. So, if he doesn't play, I'm not going to complain too much.
We've had our share of QB injuries. I'm not feeling too bad for any other team. I feel bad for the individual player, but not for the team that we're playing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wish him to get healthy, just not this week. That's what I told my friend.
Next week, or whenever they play Carolina.
I'm really hoping you recover. Just a little slower now.
Just take it easy, buddy. Take it easy. Look for your future.
Full recovery next week.
Oh yeah, no. That's fine. So anyway, though, but and then kind of a last mailbag question here: do we see Anai open the door more on Saturday? Talking about.
It's a trust.
Yeah. Which I'm saying, I guess the question is, did MJ do enough on Saturday, in your opinion, for us to open up the playbook more?
Well, that depends on the film because he made some good deep throws, right? Did he make the right play every time? I don't know. That's a film thing. But I think it's interesting. You mentioned rain. It rained at the spring game. And they threw the ball a lot, so I don't think it's going to help. That's going to keep State away from throwing. It was a different quarterback.
Yep.
I mentioned earlier, but I feel like Brennan could be effective in this situation.
In certain packages, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, man. I could see him. I'd be curious to see what that would look like for him because he's.
No, I mean, like, let's put it this way: if it's raining, then I mean, definitely experience and the ability to run the ball, and also the fact you don't want MJ to get injured, so slipping and sliding. I mean, yeah,
it's
so
not
I mean,
about,
I
it's
get
not
it.
about protect. It's not a matter of protecting MJ. It's just like MJ had 6 carries for -2 yards. Brennan was your leading rusher.
Yeah,
on the
he's
team.
not a runner. He's not a
Your
runner.
leading, your leading rusher. So
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a good point.
I just don't think he's done with you're done using him yet.
Yeah, but here's the thing I'll say with that real quick is if you bring Brennan in, he's gonna have to throw the ball because you can't just bring him in and run because they're just gonna stack the box. No,
But
I know
he wasn't garbage throwing the ball. He just wasn't. There was no spark in the offense with him in there, and that's the problem. And I feel like some of it is just getting Brennan his mojo. Like he didn't. He just maybe I feel like he's just it's something mental with him right now. I don't really know what it is, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like State if it's raining, they're gonna Anaya's gonna do some things. I believe it just won't involve as much the QB running. I think, which may not be a bad thing because that means you're getting other players more opportunities to run the ball. So maybe they're handing it off to Michael Allen more, which is not a bad option at all. Maybe that's handing it off to, you said they had KC handing it off. I think what you will see is they kind of ran that play a lot for Marshall. You're going to see some wrinkles put in with that play there. So I don't know. Yeah. I think you will, but the rain will be interesting. I just think it's also interesting that the spring game didn't stop them from throwing. So I wouldn't expect us to be like, oh, it's raining. We're going to run the ball. I don't think that's true. I think that you're going to see that not be a different story. So go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just you're talking about wrinkles, and I see this wrinkle in my head now because we love to do it. I love seeing like a Concepcion handoff and a sweep, and he pulls it and throws it to somebody.
Right. I had it in my head too, but it would have to be a lateral, wouldn't it? He'd be behind. It had to be behind.
Well, or a true handoff. You'd have to hand it off. He couldn't pitch it, right? He couldn't forward pitch it.
So you can make a forward pass on a handoff.
Yeah. He would have to hand it, not flick it.
Has Concepcion ever thrown a pass?
I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
He has this season
against Notre Dame. They tried one against Notre Dame early.
It didn't go well. So yeah,
it was a good throw. He just
so who's the? I'm just curious. That's a fun conversation. Who's the best thrower on the team at the skill position?
You mean besides quarterback, obviously?
Right. Because that'd be who I'd be. Because it was Thayer Thomas last time.
Yeah. That was the Thayer special.
I mean that throw that against Notre Dame that KC had. I mean he launched it. Lassane just couldn't.
It will stop
covered.
there.
He
was covered. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
No. I don't know.
Anyway, you were just talking about wrinkles. Yeah.
Maybe it is Concepcion.
All right. So real quickly, what's the news with Kendrick? I know we haven't really heard anything in terms of injury wise, right? So just no news on the Western Front.
No, nothing definitive. I think they said they were hoping to have him back this week, but nothing for sure.
Well, and if it's a nasty game, you're going to need all hands on deck for running. So
yeah,
true.
I think I don't want him back.
All right, y'all. So let's jump on over some Tuffy's tweets of the week, y'all. Here we go. All righty, y'all. So I know this has been a huge topic for sure. Some talked about a lot, even by us as well. Talking about Brennan Armstrong getting booed, and Peyton Wilson coming off afterwards and after the media availability saying, and I quote, "We've got to stop booing Brennan. He's a hard nose. He's a great person. Just imagine if that was your kid out there on that field in front of 70,000. Get behind him, Wolfpack Nation." And I shared a lot of my thoughts on the lockdown episodes, and I honestly, even though Greg was on there with me, I didn't allow him to say too much. So I want to kind of more hear y'all's thoughts, Greg, since you didn't have really much of an opportunity to chime in too much. Kind of give me your initial thoughts, and then I'll let Macon and Mike kind of build off of it.
Yeah, and I said a couple things, and I'll probably just reset real quick. I'm not the booing kind of guy, at least not in college. I know there's NIL, and they're kind of getting paid. Well, they are getting paid, but I think there's still young guys that are still trying to figure out their lives. So I'm not about the booing life. I get why people boo. You pay hard-earned money, and you can do whatever you want. But it's just not my style. I get it. I don't know. How much of the crowd was booing the play call / the insertion of Brennan Armstrong. I couldn't tell you that. A lot of things that I've seen on social media, everyone's saying that they were booing the play calling and not the player. take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. Michael, make him.
Yeah. I mean, like Greg said, fans can do whatever they want. I don't like it. You know, if you've got another captain on your team coming out after the press conference to make that statement, I think that should be taken into consideration. When it comes to that specific instance, when people saying whether they're booing the coaches or the play call, not the player, it's like, I mean, you don't know that on the field, and all that matters is that the players took it as they were booing Brennan Armstrong. So it's like,
yeah, I don't know how other way you can take it though, to be honest with you, in the moment.
Yeah,
exactly.
Especially when there was also some cheering when MJ came running back
back in, right? And all the MJ chants before the game, I mean, it was definitely a pro MJ crowd.
And social media before the game. So that's what I'm saying is that you see everything with social media beforehand. You see everything going on before that time. And then you hear boos. Like there's no player out there that's going to think, oh, don't worry. They're just booing at the coaches. No,
at worst, they'll be like, they're booing the whole team, coaches and players included. But like, is that much better? Not really.
So, yeah. So for me, first off, even this topic now, as soon as I said it, I really shouldn't have said it. I made that comment about Lassane just a few minutes ago, and I felt like I shouldn't have said that. So, apologies there. I shouldn't have said that. Because I do like Lassane in general, and he has been a big contributor for us, particularly last year. So, shouldn't have said that. But the thing with Brennan and the fans who say that, like, I was booing the coaching staff. I feel like that's a scapegoat. Like, you can be booing the coaching staff, and I'm like, but you're booing them because they specifically put that guy in, and you can't be like, oh, it's 100%. I'm booing because of the situation. It was like, really? So you mean to tell me if it was any other situation in the game, you would have been like, okay, or you've been indifferent about it? No, you wouldn't have. You would have probably, the same fans who booed then would have booed at any other point in the game, and it's just. Would you have booed him if they were at the 50-yard line to put Brennan in? I wouldn't have. I think those fans probably would have. So, I don't really appreciate that. I think it's really
it's tacky.
I think it's kind of classless and poor character, in my opinion. I mean, it's like, yeah, we boo the opposing team when they run in, right? That's just a typical fandom, right? That's typical fandom. It's just for fun. It's part of it. Ha, it's funny, whatever.
Well, it's at the team in general, but in this case, it's about one specific player.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's now it's kind of ugly. It's an ugly thing to do. I feel like, and it sounds kind of like cheesy to say, and maybe even a little childish. But it's like, what do you gain? What does the team gain? It's just it's really bad. I don't know. I don't like it.
Really, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, we at least have to consider it's a small aquatic bird.
And it's like, I just did it because of the coaching staff. And it's just like, but it was about them putting that guy in, and you booed that. And as soon as it made a change, you cheered for it. So don't scapegoat it on the coaching staff. You were booing because that particular person went in. Own it. Own the booing that you didn't like that, put that guy in because you didn't want to see him play. And he was your leading rusher. Even if he was not your leading passer, he's leading rusher. He can help.
That won't be the last time we see Brennan Armstrong.
Right.
So
it's not going to be.
Now let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay. So talk about the two plays. Now there's zero. There's not a single person outside of a fanhood, media, whatever, that says that bring in BA on those two plays made sense. At the end of the day, in my opinion, if you're bringing in BA, it's because he's going to be involved in the offense. Like, in my opinion, that first play should have been a QB draw right up the middle. See how he does, and if he scores, great. If he doesn't, then okay, we try, and then maybe bring in MJ, do a double Mims handoff or something like that. And then the second one, once again, where the play itself made no sense because you're right on the goal line and you're running a play action pass, which took a while to develop. And then because everybody's saying, well, Delbert Mims was wide open. Well, he's a lefty quarterback. So when he dropped back, he looks left automatically because he's left-handed. But Delbert Mims on the right side of the field. So again, it was not set up for success for Brennan Armstrong. It was not good play calls.
And to Seth's point, I saw the other comments you had highlighted there. it's not. It's like it wasn't because Brennan stunk on the play, in my opinion. It was like the dude is a hard-nosed runner. Like, if you're going to play him, do it in that kind of situation. Or like maybe even a short yardage. We need to get a first down. It's second and whatever, and we're going to run. Okay. I just think it's fine. I mean, what happens if he gets a touchdown? Are we having this conversation?
Nope.
No.
Right.
Nope. Are we booing?
So then why did the play happen? Why did the negative play happen? You have to be a smart fan. You have to be, as a fan, you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to look for an excuse to boo and not like this. And this better work. And if it does, it doesn't. Because even if they did a touchdown, you probably wouldn't have been happy about it either. You probably been like,
now we've got a controversy.
At least they scored and whatever.
He's coming for MJ's job.
No, there would have been fans complaining about Brennan being in. Then even he did score,
yes, because we're state fans. That's what we'd like to do best.
Other fans do it too, but you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but to Philip Rivers super fan point, once again, I have to say once again that from the moment that he dropped back, he maybe had a second, and you're asking him,
Belton fell down
to ignore his original progression and just and have that sense of, oh wait, Delbert Mims with the eyes in the back of my head is wide open. Let me turn to my right and go throw to him. Like, again, it was a bad play call. It was a bad play call. Like, period.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And bad execution. Belton fell down. DeMarcus Jones barely got an arm on one guy. Best case scenario, Armstrong has to get the ball out before the one linebacker gets there. There were 3 defenders in his face when there only at worst should have been 1.
And bam, right there. Brennan Armstrong needs to be like our 2022 Jack Chambers. Yes, on that goal line stuff and leave.
Did we boo Jack Chambers when he came in? Did we boo the coaches when the Jack Chambers short start situations came in? Because there's plays where Jack Chambers did not look good last year.
Yeah, the Carolina fumble.
He fumbled against UNC. Yeah.
But I don't remember us booing him.
Also scored a touchdown against UNC on.
I don't remember us booing him.
And guess what? We won that game too. We're booing after a win.
Now I can get it. There's plays I can think of as state fans we booed the coaches because we didn't like the play call. You can sense that. But this was clearly a sense of like you're booing the fact they put a specific player in.
Yeah.
What happened on that specific play that was unlike any other play? They put that guy in, and then specific amount you add a reverse reaction, and so it's like it's clearly you booing the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like it was booing the guy.
Well, and the biggest thing which I just to ask going forward is that everybody from here on out, when you look at Brennan Armstrong, you do not look at Brennan Armstrong as the guy versus MJ Morris. You need to look at him as a guy that is a piece of an offense that can be effective in ways that MJ is not, and you don't necessarily want him to be. Just like Jack Chambers last year, like Ben Finley, can he run the ball? Sure, but do you really want him to? No. And is he a great runner? No. So you'd rather go to a guy like Jack Chambers, or in this case, a guy like Brennan Armstrong in certain situations. And if it doesn't work out, it's not because he sucks. It's not going to be because anything else besides just the play did not work or is a bad play call, something like that.
I think there's an easy way to figure this or fix this. You just go play calling, boo, and then you go quarterback, boo.
Yes,
you have to announce your boo before you do it.
Booing.
Yeah.
I declare bankruptcy. No, but it's like I think just point out like there's time. I get booing the coaches. Like sometimes it's a bad play call, and you're like, what the heck are we doing? Heck, I think if you even booed the second time we pooch kicked, whatever it was, I think that's probably a fair time to boo if you wanted to boo.
I
didn't hear it.
I'm booing the equipment staff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, the team. Wow. Yeah, the teamers on the field in their uniforms. Boo.
No glow in the dark effect. Boo.
You stink, water boy. Boo.
Yeah.
Come on.
The last thing I'll say, I get people are not fans of Armstrong. At the end of the day, like I said, Peyton Wilson, who I feel like every state fan has to respect, came out and made a sincere statement. And you gotta at least respect that much if you're not going to respect Armstrong himself.
Yeah, and
I need the crying meme. That's my captain.
That's my quarterback. No, that's my quarterback. Yeah,
So
no.
let me
that's
ask you another
exactly
question.
what
If we didn't
He-
boo ever this season, do you think
Yes.
Dave Doran switched QB's honest question?
Yes. He's not making the switch because we're booing. I can
He's
promise
like, you know
that.
what? The fans have a point. He's not doing that.
The fans have spoken.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing
Yeah.
that. I think
yeah.
Doran is not afraid to upset some fans. Remember last
Right.
year when yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, he's definitely done some head scratchers at the quarterback position over the last couple of years. I mean, there's no doubt. And injury actually, this is the first time though, if you think about it, this is the first time that I can remember under Dave Doran that he's made a quarterback change due to performance, not injury.
True.
Mid-season.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, y'all. So let's jump on over to our next tweet of the week here. So once again, we kind of mentioned already, but got to give a shout out here to the announcement of Rakeem Ashford again announced that he will miss the remainder of the season after an injury he suffered against Marshall.
Yeah.
And so now that will be our second safety besides Shaquem Harris, who will be out for the season. And I feel for Rakeem for sure because I mean, again, this is the guy that suffered the dirty hit against UConn and then came back, and then 2 games later he's out for the season. Like, just bad luck. And I mean, being that he's a graduate student, I don't know if he has that COVID year of eligibility left over. And I would assume that he's going to he might have a case for an injury red shirt just because
he only played in like 2 games.
Yeah. He might have a case for it. So, but again, and hey, with how NCAA is going, then, hey,
Just say your grandma doesn't feel well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, it just at the end of the day, y'all, thoughts and prayers to Rakeem, and hopefully, hoping the best for recovery. Hope to see him back.
Sounded like a surgery too, from what it sounded like. So like a surgery to his knee. So without speculating too much, but wish him well in his surgery and his recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. Now giving a huge shout out here to Kevin Concepcion, man. Like, my biggest question right now, y'all, and this is I think legit. I mean, first of all, you see that the guy that people were regarding as like the next like Justin Jefferson, Marvin Harrison, he's 5th on that list, and Kevin Concepcion is 1st. I know, again, it's PFF. It's not like like it's not an all be all tell all.
It's one game, yeah.
It's one game, yeah. It's not the whole season, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Kevin Concepcion. I mean, throughout the season, PFF is one of the highest, grades. I mean, he's been phenomenal. Yeah. But I see what you're saying, 100%. But like again, y'all, it's crazy to see how great he looks and how confident he is and how efficient he is through just 6 games of college football. Like, it's unbelievable, to say the least. And I think it was Michael, you said it, but freshman All-American is well within grasp for this guy, no doubt about it.
Well, he was just named freshman All-American mid-season. Today.
Yeah. So you've got guys, you've got some pretty good talent again on State's roster, and you've got a guy getting the butt kiss mid-season or whatever it is award winner, and you've got a freshman who's had this is his 2nd ACC Rookie of the week.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I think he's the 2nd, but the first time he's been the highest graded freshman receiver. Is it or all receivers? So period.
That's all receivers.
All receivers. Yeah. You got some good pieces there, and I thought Vereen get some good recognition that one weekend he got started, or was it just us?
It was just us.
It was just us.
Yeah.
But he did have that. It was a Notre Dame game. He had a nice game, right? Was it Notre Dame?
Yeah, it was Notre Dame.
Yeah,
he was the only really effective receiver. I like the young pieces. I think what this is also good for is recruiting in North Carolina, because you're seeing a lot of the guys who know Concepcion saying he can come in. He's literally getting the highest grade. And I think you can say, week 6, he was the highest graded receiver in the country, period. And you can see what he's doing statistically. That's pretty good for guys like, I'm thinking the guys who already committed to State, Paylor, Anderson. You want to go to South Carolina, go to Jamar Boston, or the guy we got stuff like Christian Zachary, which I maybe talk about a little bit. But there's other guys, Gus Ritchie. You can kind of see those. That's appealing to see a true freshman come in and be your best receiver from a high school standpoint. It's not State just talking the talk; it's walking the walk.
Yeah, you got a guy that doesn't have to go sit for a year or two, like a Noah Rogers, right? He can come in and be an impact guy, and he doesn't have to quote unquote wait his turn and be a positive. I
think it's a good thing for State. Now it's kind of like, well, why? it's kind of not so great that the other older receivers aren't rated higher, but it's like, it's okay. Maybe we got something special in Conception, KC. So,
Yep, absolutely. And let's kind of talk about some of these other guys that you had mentioned here. I had the opportunity to be at Jonathan Taylor's game, and
oh, did you really go?
yeah, I was there. Yeah. I was
Oh,
tweeting
then
out
you need to
pictures
talk
and
about
stuff.
it. What did you think?
Absolutely. I mean, like it's funny. So when my wife and I got to the game, like we were standing along the fence for like the first couple of touchdowns, things like that. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, all right, babe, like, like we need to go up and I want to watch from up top. Like I want to watch this guy like go like across the
Move,
field. Like
yeah.
I don't want to watch him just go away from me. I want to watch him like move. And specifically that last touchdown, like, because again, just kind of put everybody into situation here. Basically, the ball was on their own like 30-yard line with 1.1 seconds left, and they literally just hand off the ball to Paylor, being like, "All right, Paylor, like go, give us 15, 20 yards, little stat pattern, and let's go to halftime." I mean, this guy breaks got to be 6-7 tackles, man, and works his way to finally go and get a touchdown. Now, the one thing caveat which I will say is that you see right there, 14 touches for 357 yards. He touched the ball 14 times and got 357 yards. I'm sure making is calculating how many yards that is per touch.
So I'm doing it right now.
Yep. And 7 touchdowns. And the one thing which
touchdowns. That's some Madden numbers, bro.
So what is that? 25 and a half
yards per
25
game.
and a half yards
per touch.
That's unreal. Now, the one thing which immediately comes to my mind is the last guy that I can remember that also went off, had numbers like this, was Johnny Frazier, because they both, and not saying because, but I'm saying they both went against, they were both 1/2A schools, aka much lower, not to say
is that what
caliber
Cummings is?
for
Is that
sure.
what Cummings is?
It's a 1-2A school.
Yeah.
Like literally the other team had maybe 25 dress players. Like it was pretty sad. Yeah.
All right, you're not helping the narrative here.
I mean, I'm just calling it like it is.
No.
Someone pull Layton's mic. Someone pull Layton's mic.
7 TDs is 7 TDs.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, a 4.3, 4.3, 4.40 is a 4.3, 4.40.
That's
I mean,
what
that
you
dude
want
is
to see
fast,
from a
man.
player at that level. Just absolutely.
You want to see him dominate.
Right, he should be
Yeah.
dominating. Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right, exactly.
That's where
So-
we're going with this.
And that's all we need to take away from this, Layton. So keep moving on.
Come on now, down. Yeah, no. And just saying, I mean, the talent is no doubt about it there. And just the biggest thing which I want to see out of Paylor, which Johnny Frazier didn't, was that adjustment from 1-2A football to college ACC Power 5 football, which is a little bit different in terms of physicality and speed, things like that. But I mean, then Paylor was literally like on defense and offense, like you could tell he was like literally bored. Like I've never seen a guy on a football field in the middle of a game literally look like he was bored. Like, oh my gosh, because he played everything. He held the ball for kick, for field goals. He played safety. He did it all.
I'll add this though. I remember when he committed to state and listening to some of the other sites like IPS or Pack Pride and Wolfpacker that were like, they touched on like you don't really maybe don't understand what Paylor means to a school like that, because they don't ever get talent like that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's a big deal for that program. And I think with Burlington, is Burlington?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Burlington.
So, yeah. That's a big deal for them. So I get that. He probably he kind of respects that too. That's his team.
Absolutely.
He could be a legend.
And he could do the whole go to another school, transfer somewhere else, and he's in spot. I think that's cool. He won't probably regret that or forget that. So
true. So 2 quick ones, and then we'll wrap this thing up here. Got to give a huge shout out to the switcheroony of Christian Zachary, 3-star wide receiver who was originally committed to UVA and decided to come back and run with the Pack. And I mean, again, y'all, like this is the thing that Seth kind of talked about, this loaded, skilled, talent that we're gonna have.
Mm-hmm.
Like all 4 wide receivers in this class: Christian Zachary, Jamar Boston, Terrell Anderson, Jonathan Paylor. Even though he's more of an athlete, I mean, he played running back, but he can catch the ball. He can do it all. Like there's a lot of talent in this class, y'all. Like it is exciting to say the least. This is by far, no doubt, in my opinion, the best class that Doran's had. I mean, just by paper look. I mean, there's guys all over this list, man.
I don't know. See, so here's where you can make the argument real quick.
No,
I would say this is his best offensive class, but his best, like he had some defensive classes where he had studs.
Well, sure, but I mean,
I'm
saying
saying best class ever. You're saying rankings though, right, Layton?
rankings for sure. But also two guys that can immediately come in and be an impact player. Like there's a lot.
I can see where you're coming from. That I just think back to that class. What was it, 2014 class
Chubb.
that had Chubb, Pratt, Samuels, whatever.
But those were not day one guys. Those were you had to develop them.
Sure, and I can get on board with that because I think Taylor and Anderson in particular are guys who would come in and play right away. I don't think Bailey's expected to play right away. I know he's not expected to play right away. Ronnie Royal, who you had up there, he'll probably play maybe a nickel or something like that.
Richie, I think. That's Richie, I think can, especially losing Pennock.
Which one is that?
Richie. I think Richie could get in there.
Oh, Gus Richie, he's 2025, so
that's
he would
right.
be 2 years from now.
That's right.
I know there's oh man, I had a blank.
You got Duke coming next year, right?
Duke Scott, the running back, Jaden Scott. He's
speed.
I don't know. I think there's some guys who could play. But Taylor and Anderson are guys you bring in to contribute right now. Yeah. Ronnie Royal was at one point your highest rated guy, but he's smaller. He just kind of has like a Tanner Ingold vibe to him a little bit. So I don't know what he would do, but Bailey is another highly rated guy. He's a quarterback. You just don't need him to do anything. I'm kind of going looking through real quick. Robbie Martin, the offensive line.
I think he's going to be good. I mean, he's his size is like ready college.
Well, I'll add this too. And I don't think his size is there yet, but some of the film I've seen of Brody Barnhart is really good. The guy from Charlotte, Providence Day, safety. Mm-hmm. They played on that national game, and he's had some. He looks like he's got something to him. Maybe
we have that DB that's coming in too from up.
Assad Brown and Javon Volley.
Yeah, Assad Brown. What I was thinking of. Yeah, he's really highly rated.
Yeah, but there's some good guys. Even I know one of the lower ranked guys on this team at running back is a guy from Roseville, Isaiah Jones. I don't know which one it is, but the film looks good on these guys. There's I think I mentioned earlier out of the receivers, the safety from Crop State, that's Barnhart. He looks good to me. But to me, out of the four receivers, we got Zachary like this past week or when it was a week ago. He's the one who excites me. I mean, it's a bad way. He excites me the least. He's got the length to him that you would ideally like in a receiver, but he's not big. He doesn't, to me, make these plays. I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty nice. Like he's just like solid. They make good plays, but it just doesn't blow me away.
I think he's gonna be a guy that's just gonna go out and get catches for you, right? And just he's gonna be like a third down guy where he's gonna get to the sticks and just make catches.
And you need that, and I like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
Art Monk made a living like that.
But when I see other guys, that's just kind of how I feel about him. Just to be fair, but I mean, he's like you said, great. That's kind of like what you could kind of see his role become.
Yep, absolutely. And again, I mean, and that being said, just like there's a couple in the comments. Yes, no, these guys are not signed. They're not on campus in uniform yet.
December.
But even if they are signed in uniform, that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to stay either. So I mean, like you can honestly, unfortunately, in today's day and age with college sports,
nobody feels really good. Nobody feels good until they're signed. But I mean, they could not be committed. Yeah, but they are committed. So that's better than not being.
Yeah, we're going to talk about them if they're committed.
That's half the battle,
right? But it's like I get it. Like,
sure.
Guys can flip. Whatever. I get it. So,
but that's
it wouldn't surprise me it wouldn't surprise me if we lost one and got one. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, another thing too, because I'd seen some stuff kind of floating around. I won't mention any particular player, but like when you're recruiting and you're having to go up against some big boys like Georgia's, like Alabama's, Ohio State's. Like,
I'm not naming them, but
right,
Michigan, go against Georgia,
right? But I'm just saying, like. You're in the right waters.
There's only so much
they do the same thing. Alabama fights with Georgia for players. Florida, Texas A&M, it happens.
Yeah, sometimes the name on the front of the jersey or on the helmet means Clemson. More than what you can offer. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, Penn State, they're all recruiting for if you're in that conversation, you're doing something right because those teams want those players. Does it happen every time? No. But like I would say under Doran the last 5 years, we've seen that happen more often.
It just sucks that I think the worst part of it is that they can just come in and swoop and they don't have to work as hard.
But
right?
see, that could happen with NIL
Anyway.
now
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
Look at Keon Coleman with Michigan State. Really good receiver. Hey, maybe their leading receiver. NIL money, he's at Florida State and he's killing it, right? So you never know with NIL now. It's like a new team every year, and that's probably really frustrating for coaches.
Yep.
And again, if you're Doran the staff, I mean, if one of those guys comes along, and I mean, you can do everything you can in terms of playing the card of early play time, a lot of play time, playing for your home
state.
school, you're playing in front of your family, things like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, if one of those big dogs offers the huge check that we offers the huge check, and offers
just says we're the two-time defending national champs. Yeah.
Correct.
I mean,
they
only
show
so
you
much
their
you can
board
do.
and they see all the NFL names.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. I
So,
mean, there's
but-
just some things you just can't compete against.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, y'all, I mean, I'm sitting here saying we just got to take it one day at a time, one recruit at a time, and just see how these things turn out. But let's focus on Duke, and we'll take the rest from there.
That's all you can do.
Wrapping up here, Aaron Fitt with this tweet saying, "I'm buying stock in NC State football NC State baseball in 2024. Think this will be a very good club, deep, versatile position player group with athletes in power, nice core of veteran arms with polish and pitchability, bolstered by Pac-9's best newcomer crop of power arms in years."
Yeah.
All right, so I already booked my ticket to Omaha.
I already booked mine to Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Hawaii,
what does pitchability mean?
Just good arms. I mean, just they know how to pitch, right? In situational pitching, I think is what that means.
Okay.
I was at the scrimmage on Friday, and
did we win?
It was against ourselves, right?
Yeah. We won 7-2, or we lost 7-2. I'm not sure which.
We lost 2-7.
We had we had 4 home runs in the game.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, Butterworth, who's a newcomer.
Mrs. Butterworth?
Yeah, Mrs. Butterworth.
Wow.
Great syrup. Great. Like I think the pancake blocks now transfer over to baseball.
Is this her husband or her son or nephew? What is his cousin?
Third cousin to the
Mr.
second
Butterworth?
power. Eli Serrano hit a home run. He was out playing center field, so I think that's going to be a switch that you were going to see this year.
Okay.
And
He's
then
playing where?
Center field.
Center field. So he played right field a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah. No, he played first base last year, mostly.
First base.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you had some newcomers out there. Chance Mako was throwing the ball pretty nicely. Jacob Halford, who I had a chance to meet on Saturday, threw a nice inning. So yeah, real quick plug: they play on Friday at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park against Duke. That's going to be a 14-inning game. So I think it sounds like they're going to play 2 doubleheaders of 7 innings, so that everyone gets some action.
It's a scrimmage, or is it?
It's an exhibition scrimmage. Yeah, it's fall scrimmage. Yeah, it doesn't count towards the ACC in spring, if that's what you're asking.
Are they gonna break it up, or are they just gonna?
Yeah, I think they're gonna play 2 7-inning. Yeah, it sounds like they're gonna play 2 7-inning games. Is what it was sounding like.
I wonder if they're gonna get that in before the rain too, because it's supposed to be in.
Yeah. Well, the rain chance dropped down to 1%. It looks like it all moved to Saturday for baseball or for football. But so tickets are $10. So
Pretty
go
cheap.
out there and go out there and enjoy an evening at the ballpark. And
Less than $1 an inning. So I mean, that's good money.
Value.
Right there.
Good value.
Yeah.
So, but I'll be there and getting some pictures and stuff like that for the page. So it should be fun.
All righty, y'all. So with our side, make sure again, if you haven't already, y'all, make sure again, we said at the beginning, but we have our episodes coming out with Ken Gibbs from Lockdown Wolfpack coming out here probably Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. So to make sure you do not miss out on those, make sure again, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, especially too, because again, we are doing a ton of giveaways around that's towards our subscribers. So make sure to go ahead and get ahead of that curve. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this conversation, please do us a big favor. Hit that like button, and we would greatly appreciate that. It really helps support us and the channel. And then make sure again to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, y'all. But thank you all so much for tuning in here with us. Really appreciate all your support. We always love doing these things and love seeing all the people in the chat. It was awesome to be able to talk with you guys through everything, and looking forward to hopefully coming back here a week from today with a huge win over Duke, being 5-2, y'all. That'd be awesome to say the least. So, but with that being said, y'all, we'll see y'all soon. Go Pack and beat Duke, baby.
Beat Duke.